Hello folks, today I'm going to be discussing Godzilla Singular Point. What the heck did I just watch? And warning spoilers. So I binge watched the entirety of Godzilla Singular Point and... oof. I would recommend binging it because of how the story works, but it will be a lot. More watch-throughs are definitely required. Nevertheless, this was incredibly fun to watch and a real gem in Toho's crown. Godzilla Singular Point continues the tradition of Toho experimenting with Godzilla and trying new things. If nothing else, Godzilla Singular Point is unique. Now, the reception for this TV show has been mixed, if not entirely forgotten. I don't agree with the criticism. Sorry, not sorry. I won't apologize for Godzilla being smart. I will concede, though, that a decent chunk of the criticisms are not entirely unfounded. The marketing for the show is misleading. They promised an apology for the anime trilogy. Not that bad. They promised a fun joyride that would be full of monsters, action, and all kinds of anime-ness. The fans were disgusted by the trilogy's lack of action and focus on a human story, so Toho made a series that lacks action and focuses on a human story. Let it be known that this is a far better execution and has way more action than the anime trilogy, but similar nonetheless. It was written by a novelist, not an anime writer, and it feels so. In fact, those of you who aren't into anime might be more comfortable here. Godzilla Singular Point is not so much as a Godzilla anime as it is a sci-fi mystery show that happens to have Godzilla. The kaiju don't feel necessary and wouldn't affect the show much if removed. Honestly, I like this as it's very new and a fresh breath of air. Even though they aren't always integral, whenever the kaiju are on screen, it's an absolute joy. Action isn't just thrown out in this show, it's earned. Heck, sometimes the action there feels forced. Me and my brother agree the Kumongalon fight doesn't jive well. Action isn't Godzilla Singular Point's forte, but that isn't a bad thing. As said above, Godzilla Singular Point is a mystery show, and a heck of a good one too. The build-up is slow and dramatic, dripping with intrigue and wonder, the atmosphere immaculate. There's a very specific way to maximize mystery, and Singular Point does it. Everything in this show is explained enough to satisfy, but not enough to spoil. Godzilla Singular Point is a 13-episode unrolling of a great scroll that even when read leaves mysteries to uncover. Godzilla Singular Point is no ordinary mystery, however, it's a science one. Written by To Enjo, a sci-fi novelist with a PhD in academic research into physics and mathematics, Godzilla Singular Point drives hard into hard science. The entire show takes a look at metaphysics, alternate dimensions, and time manipulation. Now this is where the criticism comes in. Some people thought this was a garbled, confusing mess. I like it, and I think it adds to the mystery, but they aren't wrong in all regards. Even I'll admit, the dialogue and explanations can be long-winded and confusing. There are entire scenes just looking at texting on a computer screen. The show tries its best to explain metaphysics and time mechanics to the general audience, but my unga-bunga brain just can't get it. The whole time while watching the show, I kept thinking that this was written while a physicist watched a Showa Godzilla movie, while on crack. And I think though that it adds more than it subtracts, and it's a new angle. The critical backlash is interesting since if you boil everything down, this is incredibly similar to a Showa movie. A group of scientists and journalists slowly unravel a mystery, ending either with an evil corporation or aliens. Choose one. The military acts in the only way it knows, but it is ineffective if not counterproductive. In the end, the army needs our group of smart people to outthink the problem. As said above, Godzilla Singular Point is not an action series. CGI animation is one of the weakest mediums for this, and gives it a clunky look. Just as in the trilogy, this is often circumvented by making the kaiju's actions slow and deliberate, but it isn't always seamless. I don't know, but Jet Jaguar worked with the Rodan and Anguirus, but not the Kumongalons. The fast action just doesn't work with 3D, and this fight goes on for a little too long. Sometimes the clunkiness is obvious, but the fights are fun and well choreographed. Even if the CGI isn't the greatest for movement, the kaiju are impeccable. Whenever they're on screen, your jaw will drop, and the inner kid in you will smile in delight. The new designs and approaches really help. Godzilla, just like in Shin, slowly evolves over the show, but instead of just larval versions, each stage is a fusion of Godzilla and another classic kaiju. Godzilla starts as Titanosaurus, then Varon, and ends with a Gorosaurus-Zilla Manila hybrid. The deep cuts are a treat to die-hard fans, as with all the kaiju in this show. The Kumongalons mix Kumonga with Megalon, and some different forms being Gigan and Kamakiris respectfully. There's even some Hedorah in there. The strongest kaiju in my opinion though, is Salunga. As a combination of Gabara, Baragon, and a baboon, Salunga is the new kaiju on the block. He is obviously the star of the show. Every shot he's in is wallpaper worthy. He is the villain of the India co-plot, and an excellent one at that. He is always shown to be menacing, if not devilish and godlike. Salunga draws inspiration from Indian mythology, as does the entire show. Salunga also gets the benefit of being drawn in 2D in the final episodes, which makes you wish everything had. Man, that's beautiful. This entire show is beautiful. The cinematography is great, with amazing shot after amazing shot, and inherits the style of Hideki Anno from Shin Godzilla and Neon Genesis Evangelion, both of which are inspired by his childhood love of Ultraman. This gives Singular Point a unique style. It doesn't feel like an anime, but not a movie either. Godzilla's Singular Point is flowing with color and designs that pop. The screen is never bland, and it makes the climaxes all more powerful. Speaking of beautiful, the soundtrack, mwah. You can't have good Godzilla cinema without some killer themes, and Singular Point delivers in spades. The ending does its job, but the intro is astounding. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to it. Godzilla Singular Point combines old Showa-style music with anime. For every new song, there's an old one, usually tweaked for a more modern aesthetic. You know they added some chanting vocals. A real oddball is Alapu Upala. The show starts immediately with this theme, and it's all pervasive after. At first, this Indian lullaby felt out of place, but the Indian subplot and focus makes it feel more at home. We also hear more and more of it over the course of the series. At first it sounds nice, but then it suddenly becomes dreadful and hopeless. Its repetition actually helps it, as whenever something bad is happening, it plays. It becomes an omen, the song of the boogeyman, the symphony of coming disaster. It all climaxes with the choir version, which is going to be that song the show is remembered for. The newest chapter in a long legacy. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't point out the faults. To recap, the exposition can be heavy and confusing, the action could be better if not sparser, and the pacing can be slower than patience would like. Furthermore, though appreciated, some mini-arcs feel entirely inconsequential to the overall story, and some plot points and characters aren't resolved at all. That last one was probably left open for the all but confirmed Season 2, which I think is unnecessary. This felt like an open and closed story. I don't understand why Ashihara is evil, but as long as it's good, I ain't complaining. In 2016, Shin Godzilla became the magnum opus of the series. It brought the franchise back from the dead in his home country. The show is obviously inspired by it, sometimes too much so. It draws heavily in both cinematography and story elements. These are all nitpicks though. This show is on average amazing. So do I recommend you watch this? Well, I'll tell you bluntly that this isn't meant for everybody. This is not a casual viewing experience. This is an investment. But if you like that, or at least don't dislike it, I can guarantee an unforgettable experience. Fans of old Showa Godzilla movies rejoice. This is one of the greatest entries into the Godzilla franchise. It's been a blast. Signing off, B-Scorp.